We want to bring attention to the fact that for the last few months, the Obama administration has been engaging in what are essentially electronic raids, where they're targeting employers for the purpose of harassing employees. And here we have the example. We have the example of ABM Janitorial Services, where you have an employer that is being audited by the federal government, and at stake are the jobs and the livelihood of more than 400 workers. 400 people who all they're trying to do is put food on the table and make this society better. What do we gain by targeting these individuals? It is time that we stop. And so we want to send a very clear message, and we are introducing a resolution tomorrow at the Board of Supervisors that calls upon the Obama administration to stop the electronic raids, to stop harassing people. In these tough economic times, we should be trying to promote labor, promote work, not make it harder for people to work. I want to thank my colleagues on the Board of Supervisors who have already co-sponsored that resolution. We have here Supervisor Eric Marr. Thank you, Eric Marr. Supervisor John Avalos, who spoke, and he had to run to a committee meeting. We have Supervisor Rosmer Karimi, Supervisor David Chu, the President of the Board of Supervisors, Supervisor Bevan Dufty, and Supervisor Sean Ellsburn. And of course, Supervisor Chris Daly, who also has stood for many years on the side of immigrants. We also want to talk about what's happening in Arizona. And tomorrow we will be introducing a resolution before the Board of Supervisors that calls for a citywide boycott of the state of Arizona. I see here Matt Dorsey of the City Attorney's Office. Matt, please come forward. City Attorney Dennis Herrera has also called for a citywide boycott, and we want to thank him for that. What it means is that we in the City and County of San Francisco want to send a very clear statement to the state of Arizona. There are consequences when you target a whole group of people, when you're essentially making it a criminal act to be undocumented, something that not even federal law does. And let's be frank about it. How is that law going to be implemented? It's going to be implemented against the backs of Latinos living in the state of Arizona. If this law goes through, if implementation happens, it will essentially be a crime to be Latino in that state. And we in the City and County of San Francisco want to make it clear to the state of Arizona that we're not going to stand by that. We're not going to use our city resources to promote that kind of conduct. And the fact is, they say that 70% of Arizonans support that law. I actually think that most people in that state don't know what they're actually approving. They don't know the implications. It means that if you are Latino, you have to carry identification, because if you don't, there's that chance that you're going to be taken in by the police. That is not the kind of state that we want to see. We, as an immigrant, we left authoritarian dictatorship countries for the purpose of avoiding that kind of life. We come from countries where you did have to have your papers. Is that the kind of society we want to live in? The last thing that I want to say is the reason we're here is because all of these things that are happening nationwide point to the need for national immigration reform. We need national immigration reform. What do we need? What do we need? Immigration reform. What do we need? Immigration reform. When do we need it? Now! Thank you.